Whatever vowel works for you. If you honestly sing lit, I think everyone would hear it as low because how we're singing. Okay. So what do you think? Second movement unaccompanied?
Nothing is attached to your life.
Sure. Well, that was really. I don't know. I'll decide in a second.
You just
All right. Thank you so much, everybody. I love this music. We've had a really good year. You've come a long way to go tonight. But I like to hear from choirs and really appreciate how quickly you learn. When I've taught you something new, you just sort of learn it. It's been an amazing experience. I couldn't be happier, and I couldn't be more excited about the day. I love this music, and it's built for us. This is a great little title for us. I can't wait for you to see the first movement too, and do the whole thing on the heart because I think it's perfectly suited for projects. Anyway, I hope you're excited too. Thank you so much, and I'll see you back here next time. If it's not already.
it on?
Yeah, you're on.
Yes, I'm on.
Yeah. All right,
What do you think? Turn it
do
on.
this. Check, check.
Good morning. Welcome to the First Unitarian Society of Madison. This is a community where curious seekers gather to explore spiritual, ethical, and social issues in an accepting and nurturing environment. Unitarian Universalism supports the freedom of conscience of each individual, as together we seek to be a force for good in the world. My name is Karen Rose Gredler, and on behalf of the entire congregation, I would like to extend a special welcome to visitors this morning. We are a welcoming congregation, so whoever you are and wherever you are on your life's journey, we celebrate your presence among us. This would be a great time to silence cell phones as we join together in a few moments of silence for contemplation, meditation, prayer, as we become fully present with ourselves and one another on this glorious morning.
Good morning. We will sing hymn number 1003 in the teal hymnal. And we will sing each line twice before moving on to the next line. There are 4 lines total. All right? Do you have that instruction? Because then I have another one. We're going to sing it together from top to bottom as a group. Then we're going to divide into a round. So over here will be group 1, and to my right, group 2. And Karen will be singing with group 2. So if you get lost, just look at her mouth or contemplate these questions. All right? Here we go. And where do we come from? What are we? Where are we go? Again there, where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Again, where do we come from? Mystery, mystery, Life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where are we? Group 1, please. Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where do we come from? Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where? Back to the beginning. Let's do it all again. Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? One more time. Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where are... Let's repeat that last line, group 1. Where do we come from? Where are we going?
You may be seated. On this amazing and heartbreaking day, when we, a people who come from many places and representing an array of ages and identities, we gather together to be renewed, refreshed, reignited. On this heartbreaking and amazing day, when we, a people ever mindful of the mysteries of life, we gather together to seek companionship on our journeys, feeling that we may indeed be on the brink of all that we have ever loved. And together we join in reading aloud the chalice lighting words printed in your orders of service, as together we say, all that we have ever loved and all that we have ever been stands with us on the brink of all that we aspire to create, a deeper peace, a larger love, a more and embracing hope, a greater generosity of spirit, a deeper joy in this life we share. I invite you to turn to your neighbors for a friendly greeting. Good morning. You're so nice and warm. I know. presentation this morning with our Director of Children's Religious Education, Leslie. And we usually on the fourth weekends of the month do lighting of joy and sorrow candles. So we'll be doing that later in the service because today we have something special.
Good morning, everyone. Come on down. Hi. How y'all doing today? Good? Good. All right. Well, you know, usually at this time in the service, we have a story for you, and we do have a story for you today as well. But this is a different kind of story, and in fact, you all are a super important part of this story because without you all, we would have no story to tell at all. And that's because our story today is about a special group of teachers that we have here at First Unitarian Society. You know, we have lots of teachers every year. We have about 100 teachers every year. But this special group today are people who have taught year after year after year. Some of them are celebrating their 5th year of teaching. One of them is celebrating her 15th year of teaching. That's a long time. How many of you here are 5 years old? Anybody? Got a few people here. So think about this. You're 7. For those of you who are 5, many of our teachers have taught as many years as you've been alive. That's a long time, isn't it? Yes, you're 4. I'm not even going to tell you how old I am. Nobody here has taught that long. So anyway, we want to celebrate their gift to us by the many years that they have spent teaching here. And I'm wondering what you all think about this. So on Sunday mornings for you guys, we have all these adults who come here to teach your classes. They could be home sleeping. They could be home reading the newspaper. They could be out on a walk. They could be riding their bikes. But they're here with you. Why do you suppose they do that? Any ideas why they decide to spend all that time and energy with you guys? What do you think? Because they want to make sure you're doing well in school? Okay, good. Good. Any other ideas?
This is true.
Well, yes, it's a different kind of school, isn't it? What do you think? Why are they here? To get exercise? Did you guys walk here today? Maybe. Maybe they get exercise. They do have to run around you guys a lot. So, what do you think? Want to think about it a little bit? Any other ideas? What do you think? Because they like it. Do you guys like it? I think they like it. Yeah. What do you think? Because they like you guys. That is definitely true. That all of those things are true. Yesterday, somebody wondered if they did it for the money. Nah, definitely not doing it for the money, because you know what we pay them? 0. We give them our gratitude and our love. That's it. So anyway, they care a lot about your curiosity and your learning and your happiness here at First Unitarian Society, and that's why they come to spend their Sunday mornings with you. We have 12 teachers this year who are celebrating their 5-year, 10-year, or 15-year anniversary. And we have 4 of them with us this morning, because some of them were here yesterday, and some will come at 11, and some just couldn't be here at all. So we're going to call them up here, and gosh, how are we going to get them up here? Do you guys think you could scoot back a little bit? Okay. And would you like to help me pass out little gift bags? Okay, it's easy.
It's my birthday party.
It's easy. It's your birthday party today.
Yeah, but not my birthday.
Okay, can you scoot back a little bit? Thank you. We got to make room for our teachers. Can you scoot back? All right. No, it's to the teachers. So the first teacher I want to call up is Lori Brody, who has been here 15 years. Thank you, Lori. And Brian Fry.
Jackie Husted. Thank you. And can all of you on the count of three, and all of you on the count of three, help me shout a big thank you to them, okay? 1, 2, 3. Thank you! Yay! Thank you, guys. So at this time of year, it's really nice to look back and acknowledge the incredible contributions of our teachers, but we're also steeped in looking forward to next fall and all the teachers that we need to get for next year's classes. And my partner in crime, Mariah, and I have a really brief Dr. Seuss-inspired skit for you to inspire you to teach. We'll see if it works. All right? Ready? Would you like to teach UUs? Tell me which you choose. Would you like 5th grade or the 1st? Choosing none would be the worst.
I could not teach UUs. That is not something I would choose. I can't imagine where I'd start. What great knowledge would I impart?
Would you with support? You'll have co-teachers, a grand cohort, and RE staff, and curriculum too. Supplies and support to guide you through.
Well, possibly with such support. It does sound fun, I must report. And UU values passed to our young? How could that go terribly wrong?
Would you like it if I say that you will come to church one day and a smiling kid will wave and that you'll be the one she's waving at? You'll watch kids learn and smile and play and connect with parents along the way. They'll thank you for the job you've done in working hard to teach their young. And if those reasons aren't ideal, here's one that will likely appeal. When you teach, you just might find your beliefs and spirit will feel sublime.
That does sound rich, as you say, with kids waving and smiling and busy at play. I love the thought of nurturing their minds, their spirits and hearts grown unbound. But it's important that you know, I've never taught before, not even a toad.
Could you, if you knew that there are trainings and resources too? The time it takes is not that long, only about 6 hours all month long. Only about 6 years of your life.
All right, why yes, I'll sign up now. I've heard good things from near and far. I'll jump right in and become a part of UU learning and UU heart. But where, but how, but what do I do now? To seal the deal, to take my vow.
That's great, that's grand. Welcome aboard. To the Commons you must go. There you'll find teachers to sign you up, to chat and schmooze and gladly erupt. We're grateful, we're proud, we're glowing inside to have so many adults caring for our young crowd. It takes a village, as you know. If we all pitch in, our movement will grow. Our kids will know they're loved and revered for all the great thinking and growing done here. And if there are others wanting to join, well, now they know too where to adjourn. The Commons, all must go. Let's make this work, let's rock this show. And now you all, thank you for being here. Okay, so do you go to class?
Let's sing the children out, singing hymn number 1023, Building Bridges. We'll sing it once through all together and then twice through as a round, same as before. Let us rise in all the ways that we do. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet. Group 1, building bridges between. Group 2, reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such. Back to the beginning, let's do it again. building bridges between our dear. One more time. Building bridges within our division, with all of our voices and all of our visions, it would make such sweet harmony.
We do indeed make such sweet harmony together, so thank you for that. Today's worship service focuses on the ways in which this congregation provides ministry to people of all ages. Specifically, we are exploring the stories and dreams of young adults. 2 Unitarian Universalist students from UW-Madison were instrumental in planning this service. And though they could not be with us this morning in person, we have a recording of one of them who graciously agreed to present the readings for today. This is Carly Wilson. Today's first reading is by Unitarian Universalist minister, the Reverend Dr. Jennifer Kwong, and it is entitled From Ally to Advocate.
I was so smart till I didn't know the answer to why evil exists in the world. Thought I was so enlightened till I discovered comfort in darkness for a while. Thought I was so liberal till my good intentions produced the opposite results. Thought I was colorblind till my eyes began to see differences that should be honored. Thought I was an ally when what was called for was an advocate instead.
Today's second reading, also done by Carly, is adapted from the work of Unitarian Universalist Dr. Janice Marie Johnson, and it is entitled Theology of Accompaniment.
I got an important glimpse into the spiritual practice of being in partnership when I learned about the theology of accompaniment. The term comes from Cuban-American theologian Roberto Goizueta in his book Caminemos con Jesus. Reverend Jackie Clements introduced me and many others to the concept at an annual gathering of Unitarian Universalist religious professionals of color. Clements described how the verb acompañar in Spanish differs in complexity, texture, and weight from the English to accompany, which can be used for something as mundane as going to the grocery store with someone. The Spanish word connotes something deeper. It's like being joined at the hip, said a colleague at the retreat. When I think of partnership, I think of striving to empower the community and of building bridges. I think of working collaboratively with various organizations and individuals, especially those who understand the difference between providing services to the disenfranchised and breaking bread with siblings. A theology of accompaniment calls us to move beyond othering, beyond tolerating, beyond embracing. It calls us to honor our siblings as the unique and precious beings that we all are.
Here ends the readings. Thank you. A couple of weeks ago, I had the great joy of participating in the first chalice ceremonies here at First Unitarian Society. During these rituals, second and third graders got to stand bravely in front of their peers and families as one of us ministers read aloud for everyone to hear the reflections written about them with love and admiration, written by their families. These 7, 8, and 9-year-olds then also received a gift of their very first chalice, a way to remember this moment in their lives when we acknowledge that they are indeed growing out of being young children. And today, we experience the joy of the larger religious education program. We honored the life-giving work of our teachers and facilitators, those who have guided our young people through their classrooms, through their developmental stages, through their questions and their answers. These adults have accompanied our young people on their learning journeys for years, and that is a gift for everyone involved. And in a couple more weeks from now, we will likely be in awe of our coming-of-age 9th graders. They will be sharing with us the culmination of their year of introspection and participation in a rigorous spiritual course. They will articulate their belief systems as they currently understand them to exist, and we will join them in proudly recognizing their accomplishments. On that same weekend, which happens to be Mother's Day weekend in case you're interested in attending, there will also be a bridging ceremony. This ritual will acknowledge some of our high school seniors who are moving on from their secondary education and into the next chapter of their lives. Like other bridging ceremonies in Unitarian Universalist congregations across the country, this ceremony will mark a significant moment in the lives of these teenagers. A similar, though much larger ceremony will occur in the middle of June at the General Assembly of Unitarian Universalist of the congregations of the UUA, the Unitarian Universalist Association. This year, General Assembly is happening in Spokane, Washington. During many bridging ceremonies, the teenagers move, literally and or figuratively, across a bridge that represents the transition from one known experience to a life that is largely unknown, largely filled with question marks. Now, if you're like me, you may be wondering, what are these young Unitarian Universalists bridging into? This bridge must go somewhere. Where exactly will this bridge land them? Well, truth be told, those are the questions I intend to spend the rest of my internship with you exploring. You see, as part of my seminary education, I have been asked to lead this congregation in a single focused area of ministry. The first question posed to me when we were considering what area I should focus on was, what is a currently underserved population at FUS? What is a population that could benefit from my leadership, attention, and intention? In conversation with my teaching pastor, the Reverend Kelly Crocker, and with other key players on the staff team and in the congregation, we decided that I should focus on campus ministry. Now, some of you know that campus ministry has a precedent in this congregation. Numerous interns, staff, and ministers before me have lovingly and with dedication shared their unique ministries with many young adults, both on campus and here in this building. And I am here to assure you that those efforts have made a difference in the lives of young people and in the life of our wider denomination. I, in fact, have 2 examples from my life alone that share this truth. First of all, right now I'm in seminary with one of the people who attended weekly gatherings on campus with the Reverend Mary Ann Macklin a couple of decades ago. She's about to graduate in May. And second, one of my good friends is another person who similarly engaged in campus ministry, and he is about to celebrate his 10th anniversary as a Unitarian Universalist minister. My point is that First Unitarian Society has a history, an important history, of supporting and ministering to Unitarian Universalists who are in their late teens and early 20s. And that tradition has saved lives that are now saving lives. Your FUS tradition has made a difference. And I'm hoping that through this focused initiative, I can help renew our commitment, our collective commitment to that campus ministry tradition. To support this renewal, I have started to imagine our campus ministry project as having two main goals. The first goal may not surprise you. It's to build a UU community on the UW-Madison campus through experiences that are developed in conjunction with UU and UU-curious students. Young adults will be empowered to collectively enrich, embolden, and embody their spiritual lives. The second goal, that is to engage committed congregants who will act as an enthusiastic group of campus ministry flame tenders. Now, these are the folks who will support the campus ministry in any number of ways yet to be determined, but including shepherding the campus ministry between student leaders and between intern ministers. Now, obviously, I am humbly aware that these two goals represent a working draft of a vision for the campus ministry. Much of what will actually get implemented depends on the young adults themselves, and it depends on the congregants who feel called to get engaged in this life-transforming initiative. Clearly, this initiative requires collaboration. So in an effort to lay the foundation for this ministry, my first priority was to listen to the young adults themselves. As I mentioned earlier when introducing today's readings, there were two young adults in particular who were instrumental in planning this worship service. Both Carly Wilson and Riley Ochtemeyer are UW undergraduate students who are active, studious, delightful, and giving. Both are white women who were raised as Unitarian Universalists. They have brothers and roommates, weekly quizzes and soccer games, classes and jobs, social lives, and summer plans. Last week, Carly and Riley took time out of their busy schedules to sit down with me, and together we chose hymns to sing, readings to explore, and messages to underscore during this worship service. While neither of them could be here with us physically today, I assure you that their fingerprints are all over this service. Take, for example, that first reading that Carly read and shared, entitled From Ally to Advocate. This is a poem that came to our attention when we were flipping through the books I had brought with me to our brunch meeting. We were trying to find pieces that spoke to us when, well, out of the blue, Riley pulled out her phone and started taking a picture of a page with this poem on it. That's how much she was moved by this poem. She wanted to take it with her. Now, if you'll recall, it's a poem that calls us out of our places of privilege and into perspectives that might not be all that flattering. Thought I was so liberal till my good intentions produced the opposite results. This poem takes courage to engage with. And both Riley and Carly seem eager to do exactly that. This From Ally to Advocate poem seems relevant when they mention being shocked to hear disparaging comments from a white dorm mate about an African American resident assistant, simply because their peer leader was black. This From Ally to Advocate poem seems relevant when they mention being surprised to hear a classmate ask incredulously, "You mean being gay isn't a choice?" This From Ally to Advocate poem seems relevant when they mention wanting time with fellow Unitarian Universalists so that they could together unpack these social situations and figure out in community how to respond to such comments in the future, given our UU principles and shared values. How do we, as Unitarian Universalists, move from being allies to advocates? When they boiled it down, Carly and Riley expressed the importance of campus ministry in this way. While college offers them an academic education, what they are lacking on campus is a spiritual education, a place to wrestle with the big questions of life. How might FUS be a support to young adults asking the big questions of life? As we begin to explore the options of how best to support college-age people through a campus ministry initiative, I invite you to get in touch with your inner young adult. Now, there may be someone in this room who is under 18. And if you're here, feel free to just imagine yourself in the present. For those of you who are older than 25, think back now to that time in your life when you were 18 or 20 or 22. What were you doing? How were you feeling? What were you thinking about? Who were you trying to be? Whenever that time in life happened for you, there were likely big questions you were facing. Some of the big questions that Riley and Carly mentioned about relationships certainly resonated for me. How do we make new friendships? How do we negotiate romantic interests? And how do we interact with roommates and classmates with our integrity intact? I remember the first night in my dorm room thinking to myself, oh my God, I'm trying to sleep in a room with a complete stranger in it. Carly and Riley also raised questions about choosing majors and envisioning careers. What is required of us as we move into adulthood? What kinds of lives do we want to live? What happens next? And who can accompany us on this journey? Now, lucky for us, these two young women offered up some ideas of how a Unitarian Universalist congregation like FUS might be able to support college-age folks. The first idea includes one-on-one relationships. So what if there was a program, something along the lines of adopt an adult? In this idea, young adults and congregants would be matched so that the congregants could offer extra emotional and spiritual support to young people who were undergoing huge transitions in their lives. I can imagine, for example, inviting a student over for a home-cooked meal, sending them a text to see how their final exam went, or offering a ride to FUS worship service on the weekend. Because young adults may be away from their families of origin for the first time, having trusted and established adults who can provide a listening ear could be helpful as they ask the big questions and make big decisions. A second idea is to have a regular campus ministry presence that allows Unitarian Universalist students to gather in a safe and brave space to have discussions on current events. Those events that are very personal or local or national or global. Carly and Riley are interested in bringing an explicitly UU perspective to issues that are present and relevant in their lives. In the past, given the fact that they were being exposed to new, usually more conservative perspectives, the campus ministry gatherings were a place for Carly and Riley to sort through their thoughts and feelings with UU peers. A third and final idea offered up by Riley and Carly speaks to the deep desire to have time for contemplation and spiritual development. Through group meditation practice or time to reflect on readings, young adults could have the opportunity to slow down and reflect. Time set aside from their usually busy lives. Because they spend so much time considering where they came from and where they are going next, spiritual sustenance can help young adults practice making intentional time to live in the present moment. So just to recap, young adults are suggesting that congregants of FUS can provide help to them with support, exploration, and renewal. As I reflect on these three suggestions, I realize that all of them are examples of the theology of accompaniment that was underscored in the Janice Marie Johnson reading. We are embodying a theology of accompaniment when people are supported by one another over something so simple as a home-cooked meal. We are embodying a theology of accompaniment when young adults explore current events together with a UU lens. We are embodying a theology of accompaniment when a campus ministry program offers mindfulness walks that help young adults feel spiritually renewed while being in community. Of course, there are many other ways we can engage with a theology of accompaniment. As Johnson writes, when I think of partnership, I think of striving to empower the community and building bridges. I have to agree. We should partner together to create a vibrant campus ministry. Let's empower the young adult community that is clearly ready for more. Let's build bridges to where young adults are at, and let's build bridges that lead to somewhere. All young people need time to transition into the next stage of their development, whether they are getting their first chalices, articulating their "this I believe" statements, or bridging beyond high school. Wherever we human beings are on our journeys, knowing that our fellow Unitarian Universalists will be there to accompany us on the way makes all the difference. What a gift to know from these young people the several ways that we can renew this congregation's commitment to our tradition of a strong and vibrant campus ministry. If you are curious and interested in joining me on this journey, feel free to reach out to me after service or via email. And until then, may we all continue to consider the ways we can move from being allies to being advocates. And may we all know the deep satisfaction of embodying a theology of accompaniment. Blessed be, and amen. Each week we partner with a local organization to share our offering with them, and this week our organization is called the Sierra Club Four Lakes Group. I encourage you to read more about them in your Red Floors insert.
We sincerely appreciate all your contributions in today's offering. We also appreciate the generous gifts of time from those who help our services run smoothly. Today, our greeter was Claire Box. Our ushers were Jane Nelson Worrell, Mary Bergen, Karen Jager, and Brent West. At our information table, doing double duty, was also Mary Bergen. Hospitality, coffee preparation and all, is being provided by Franz Annalini Musarid Varga. Our lay minister is Lois Evenson. John Powell will be our tour guide, and if you would like a tour after this service today, please meet him up in front over by the windows near where the ramp starts after the service. Thank you. I do have 3 opportunities to let you know about today. The first one is that today after service, a member of our Board of Trustees, Marsh Schweitzer, will be available to answer your questions regarding the current transition between called ministers. This will take place here in the auditorium for about 20 minutes between the services. Also, the annual Wortman Lecture is happening today at 2 p.m. over in the Landmark. Our featured lecturer is Dr. Kate Ott. At 5 p.m., then Dr. Ott will be facilitating a youth workshop, also in the Landmark. You can find out more about this lecture in the news from the Red Floors insert. Now, here's something that we need to remember so we're not confused and don't end up someplace expecting something to happen that will not be happening. Starting Memorial Day weekend, that's May 26th, and through Labor Day weekend, as we've sometimes done in the past, we will hold just one single worship service each weekend at 10 a.m. here in the atrium. Also, during this time, we will not be holding children's religious education classes, and children ages 5 to 12 are invited to participate in summer fun activities. This is also noted in your red floors, so check that if you're even the slightest bit confused. We've done this in the past, but I don't believe we did it last year, the one service business. Thank you very much.
I want to take a moment to just thank another group of people who have contributed so much to FUS this year. It's coming early, our last Sunday, to sing with you in service, but Society Choir, and I'll say the same when Meeting House Chorus has their final Sunday of the year. Society Choir has done a great job this year, and it being my first year here on staff, I'm so appreciative of how welcoming they have been and how generous they have been with their time. But not only that, one of the very first things that they said to me was about coming up to my first service with them here was make sure you set out a basket, because the ushers won't give us a chance to contribute money because we're singing. So if you could have a basket out so we could also contribute money. And I thought, you understand you're contributing your time and talent and are actually taking part in the service, but that wasn't enough of a contribution for them. They're so generous-hearted, and I just wanted to give you an opportunity to thank them as well. Society Choir, thank you.
On this 4th weekend of the month, we bring together our joys and sorrows to light candles and hear them spoken aloud. So if you brought a joy here so heavy that you need help to hold it, or if you have a joy so large you can't help but share it, We invite you now into this time where you can come forward to light a candle and share briefly your joy or sorrow. I now open the floor.
Our application has been accepted, and we are now starting the home process study to adopt from foster care.
Hi, my name is Mary, and I discovered that I'm in the right age demographic to fall into the Grand Canyon. And I'm traveling with my brother and his wife for the first time to travel with them road trip to the Grand Canyon.
Hi, I just want to share, I don't know if any of you knew a gentleman here in Madison named Larry Elliott who passed away last Sunday. He was a great friend of our family. And I will miss him a lot.
Hi, this isn't precisely my sorrow, but you know that very recently there were terrorist acts in Sri Lanka in churches, and yesterday there was a shooting in a synagogue, and I'm just feeling really sad about all of the terrorism that's been happening in houses of worship recently.
So this is a deep bow of gratitude to all the staff at First Unitarian Society, who, along with the board, are guiding us through this period of transition, when we all know that we need to bring our best hearts and hopes for these next years. And also a deep bow of gratitude for all the services over the Easter weekend. What an incredible gift. Thank you.
We'll light one more candle for those joys and sorrows that are too tender to share right now and are just held in the safety of our hearts. Many blessings on these joys and sorrows, and for this day ahead, we will sing together once again hymn number 348, Guide My Feet. I invite you to rise in all the ways that we do.
Guard my feet while I run this race. Guard my feet while I run this race. Guard my feet while I run this race. For I don't want to run this race in vain. Hold my hand when I run this race. Hold my hand while I run this race. Hold my hand while I run this race. For I don't want to run this race in vain. Stand by me while I run this race. Stand by me while I run this race. Stand by by me while I run this race, for I don't want to run this race in vain. Search my heart while I run this race. Search my heart while I run this race. Search my heart while I run this race, for I don't want to run this race in vain.
As we move through our lives, finding ourselves always newly wise and newly foolish, we ask that our mistakes be small and not hurtful. We ask that we gain experience, that as we gain experience, we do not forget our innocence, for they are both part of the whole. And in this spirit, we extinguish the chalice of this community, remembering that we hold in our hearts and minds the fire of commitment, the warmth of love, and the flame of renewal to our greater whole. Until we gather together again, may we go in peace, and may we also be seated for a final gift of music.